Hello and thanks for joining us. Here's what's happening right now. The rising danger in British Columbia isn't over yet.
As difficult as the last few days have been, there is more rain in the forecast.
Why Abbotsford's mayor is pointing the finger at Ottawa.
Wow, such a big welcome.
The floor crossing fallout as Parliament approaches a power shift.
I think people should be able to make judgments on their own as to what they see in these photos.
Plus, photo exposure, the famous faces in a newly released batch of Epstein images.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Hello, I'm Marcia McMillan. We begin with major flooding in BC's Fraser Valley. Torrential rain and overflow from the Nooksack River in Washington state has forced evacuations, flooded farmers' fields, and closed some schools and highways. The mayor of Abbotsford is also taking aim at Ottawa as forecasters warn of another atmospheric river in the forecast. CTV's Andrew Johnson is in Abbotsford with more on how people are coping. Andrew.
Marcia, this is Highway 1, the main artery connecting Metro Vancouver to the rest of the country. Now, a lake. It started to flood late last night in a scene witnesses describe as chaos.
That's scary. It's scary how fast it was.
John Rains was part of the traffic control crew on the Trans-Canada Highway when the flood situation accelerated from 0 to 100.
Man, it must have been 35 minutes before it went from nothing on the highway to the highway was gone. It was crazy.
Police worked fast and got thousands of vehicles off the road safely, except for one driver they say didn't listen and had to be rescued by boat.
That individual decided to go around a road closure sign and entered into a flooded area. He had to be rescued off the roof of his car.
The water from the overflowing Nooksack River in Washington state that has left homes and farms underwater is expected to peak sometime today. Close to 500 properties are under evacuation order, with many more on alert.
A lot of people just have PTSD right now.
Some farmers rushed livestock out of their barns. Others, told to evacuate, say leaving isn't an option.
We got to keep going here. We're going to stick around.
He's got to feed cows, milk cows, so...
You can't really go.
No.
Fortunately, the situation is not as bad as 2021, when flooding here was part of the most costly disaster in BC history. The mayor is taking aim at Ottawa for turning down a funding request to do more to prevent future problems.
We need action, and we need action now. We have done everything, including almost standing on our heads, to be noticed and to be heard. And again, to be disappointed by our federal government.
As difficult as the last couple of days have been for people here, officials confirm there is still more rain in the forecast. It's expected to really start to come down over the weekend. Marcia.
CTV's Andrew Johnson in Abbotsford. Andrew, thank you for that. Now, south of the border, some incredible flood rescue scenes to show you in Washington state. The U.S. Coast Guard released this video showing the dramatic rescue of people trapped in their homes as swollen waterways spilled into residential areas. Tens of thousands of people in Washington state have been forced to flee their homes. Thousands more are on standby to leave at a moment's notice. A massive house explosion rocked a neighborhood near San Francisco, and the moment was captured on a doorbell camera. This footage shows the powerful blast launching debris and smoke into the sky. There were no fatalities, but 6 people were injured and 3 properties were reduced to rubble. The explosion was caused by a leaking underground gas line, reportedly damaged by a construction crew. Some breaking news now from Alberta, where several Junior A hockey players were hurt in a bus crash. The team bus for the Athabasca Rivermen crashed on a snowy and icy highway south of Athabasca this morning en route to Crow's Nest Pass. At least 2 teens were taken to hospital in Edmonton with non-life-threatening injuries. Other minor injuries were treated at the scene. The players are between 15 and 19 years old. RCMP say the driver lost control and entered the ditch.
The roads were iced over, and there was also blowing snow, which caused a lot of that ice to be covered. So anything that looked like just normal snowpack, the snow would clear up, and next thing you knew, you were on a patch of ice. And that is what we believe happened with the bus. We don't believe that speed or alcohol were a factor in this. It's really just so far due to inclement weather.
Lots of reaction today to Conservative MP Michael Mah crossing the floor to join the Liberal Party, now on the brink of a majority government. A blow to the opposition and leader Pierre Poilievre ahead of next month's leadership review. CTV's Judy Trin is following the latest reaction for us in Ottawa. Judy.
Marcia, before Michael Mah made his grand entrance at the Liberal holiday party, he also attended Conservative celebrations.
To our newest member of the Liberal Party, Michael Mah.
Plans for Michael Mah's defection were completed just a few hours before the Prime Minister announced it. Sources say the stealthy move was initiated by Natural Resources Minister Tim Hodgson, who represents a neighboring riding.
Wow, such a big welcome. Thank you.
Few saw it coming. Mah was dancing at the Conservative Christmas party a day earlier. He even posed with Pierre Poilievre for photos. On X, his secret Santa, Conservative MP Kurt Holman, says he gave Mah an Amazon Fire Stick and wants it back. Poilievre says Mah is letting down the people who elected him to fight for an affordable future and will have to answer to them. Mah was elected this past April in Markham-Unionville. In the riding, nearly 60% of residents are from China or South Asia. Regional Councillor Joe Lee campaigned for Mah. He says many constituents support Carney's recent moves to improve relations with China and India.
By and large, they think the Prime Minister make a good move.
This follows Chris d'Entremont's floor crossing in November. The Carney government is now at 171 seats, just one away from a majority, and are open to courting others.
They realize, like we do, that we're in a trade war and that serious solutions are required. And they are required every day to go through this charade of obstruction. That is a soul-destroying experience for many Conservative members of Parliament.
In the new year, there could be as many as 4 by-elections, and they're not all safe seats for the Liberals. As for Pierre Poilievre, he'll have to answer questions about the defections when his leadership comes up for review at the party convention. Marcia.
Judy, thank you. CTV's chief political correspondent Vashi Kapelos joins me now. Vashi, how damaging is this to Poilievre just weeks before that leadership review?
Well, to Judy's point, Marcia, Poilievre isn't just facing questions during, or won't just face questions, I should say, during that leadership review. He already is. It's Chris d'Entremont, it's Michael Mah, and then it's also Matt Genereux, who was rumored to be crossing the floor, but instead just quit politics altogether. He's lost 3 MPs this fall. The pressure is most certainly on Mr. Poilievre. Now, the caveat may be during his leadership review, who goes? Very diehard Conservative voters, people who already know they're voting Conservative. The latest Angus Reid poll shows that 92% of them still very much support Pierre Poilievre. The wider public, though, even Canadians who might consider voting Conservative, feel very differently. And events like what just happened and the way in which Mr. Poilievre over the coming weeks handles them will be key in determining their level of support. Plus, the thing you've got to watch is exactly what Judy said. If there are more and the Liberals are able to form a majority with additional floor crossers from the Conservatives, you got to wonder what that means for Mr. Poilievre. Marcia?
Vashi, thank you. In Washington, new photos from Jeffrey Epstein's estate have been released by U.S. House Democrats showing many powerful men with the late convicted sex trafficker. CTV's John Venevali-Rao is following the details. John, who's pictured and what are they doing?
Marcia, the images serve as a reminder of Epstein's relationship with prominent people from the world of politics, business, and entertainment.
19 pictures were selected and released by Democratic lawmakers. Images showing Epstein with entrepreneur Richard Branson and film director Woody Allen. A shot of Microsoft founder Bill Gates and one of U.S. President Donald Trump, along with 6 women whose faces were redacted.
These photos were in the possession of the Epstein estate, and so that includes pictures that maybe were sent to Epstein, perhaps he took himself.
There's a photo of Epstein and co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell standing with former President Bill Clinton, Epstein posing with former Trump advisor Steve Bannon, and images of sex toys. The Democrats say the House Oversight Committee received 95,000 images from the Epstein estate, and they're going through them.
I think anything that we release is significant. I think people should be able to make judgments on their own as to what they see in these photos. For us, this is about transparency.
All of the men in the photos have long denied any wrongdoing, and some of the images were already public. None of them show underage girls or indicate any criminality. When or where they were taken is not disclosed, but they do raise more questions about Epstein's connection to the rich and powerful. Here, Epstein is seen with Trump. Another photo shows a bowl of novelty condoms with a caricature of Trump's face. Trump was at one time a friend of Epstein, but has denied knowing about his abuse of girls and women. The photos are separate from the Epstein files that the U.S. Department of Justice has been ordered to release by December 19th. Meanwhile, Republicans are accusing the Democrats of cherry-picking images to embarrass U.S. President Trump. Marcia.
John, thank you for that. Police in Fredericton had been under the microscope after 2 murder cases fell apart in court because of police error. Now results from an independent review into the force's handling of the crimes are being made public. CTV's Sarah Plowman digs into the report and its recommendations. Sarah.
Marcia, this review brought forth recommendations, but also left a lot of unanswered questions.
This is something that never should have happened.
An admission by Fredericton's chief of police, along with another apology to the families of Corey Markey and Brandon Donnellan, 2 men murdered in 2021 and 2022. It led to 5 charges, but those trials never happened due to a police error.
The pain and disruption this has caused them and those closest to these investigations is beyond measure.
In June, charges were stayed against the 5 people accused in the murder cases due to what the Crown prosecutor called an insurmountable evidentiary issue caused by Fredericton police.
The stay of these charges shook public confidence in the criminal justice system and deprived everyone, especially the family members, of a public trial.
Police won't say what the error was, and the independent investigator who reviewed the police force says he can't provide an explanation to clear the air either.
The Canada Evidence Act and related case law prevent disclosure of this information.
What investigator Ian Scott did conclude is what happened wasn't criminal. He did not recommend criminal or disciplinary charges. In an analysis of 63 major crime and high-risk investigations in the past 4 years, Scott found overall the investigations were generally well managed until the point where they became complex. He made 19 recommendations.
These challenges reflect less on the effort of individual investigators than on the need for stronger systems, standardized practices, and enhanced oversight.
Scott made recommendations to improve police's oversight, training, and file management. The police forces accepted all of them and promised to give quarterly updates on their progress. Marcia.
Thanks, Sarah.
I'm Paul Hollingsworth in Halifax. Coming up on CTV National News, taking stock of the Buy Canadian movement.
I buy what's on sale.
The factors holding people back from buying local in Canada this holiday season.
It takes a lot of effort.
Coming up on CTV National News.
The King shared some positive developments today about his cancer treatments.
Today, I am able to share with you the good news that thanks to early diagnosis, effective intervention, and adherence to doctors' orders, my own schedule of cancer treatment can be reduced in the new year.
King Charles also stressed the importance of being diagnosed early, citing figures that 9 million people in the UK are not up to date with cancer screenings available to them. Flu season is hitting Canada especially hard this year, sparking an urgent plea from the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. They're calling for extra help from family doctors to manage the spike in cases in the Ottawa region. CTV's Abigail Beeman is looking into what they're asking and how bad it's getting. Abigail.
Marcia, the hospital describes this flu season as early and intense, with twice as many children needing hospitalization this November as compared to last, forcing staff to rely on overflow areas for care. Samantha Kingsbury experienced what Ottawa's Children's Hospital is calling unprecedented volumes in the ER, stretching capacity to the limit.
There's a lot of people inside. Seems like there's a lot of coughing.
The hospital is extending hours at a clinic, and its CEO is asking family doctors and pediatricians to prioritize after hours and urgent appointments for children with respiratory symptoms, but no one at CHEO would do an interview about it.
We are prepared for it, and in fact, our family health organization will be open during Christmas to New Year's every single day, at least 8 and sometimes 12 hours a day, and many family doctor practices are doing the same thing.
Across Ontario, there are more than 7,000 total cases, 43% of them reported last week.
We still know how to prevent it and how to manage cases. It's just at a population level, likely going to be a tougher year.
In Alberta, flu cases jumped by 70% last week, with 216 hospitalizations and 3,703 cases total.
That's just the cases that we know. There's a lot more cases within the community as well. So that's not alarming in and of itself.
This Edmonton emergency room doctor says for the average healthy person, if you feel like you were hit by a train, don't head to the ER.
It's the same old story. Get vaccinated, get vaccinated, get vaccinated. If the strain that we picked for this year is slightly off, that doesn't matter. It doesn't mean the flu vaccine's ineffective. It may be a little less effective.
I haven't had the flu in many years, so I'd say it's doing its job.
I got mine in November.
With the flu season off to an earlier start, experts are reminding people about etiquette around holiday gatherings. Cough or sneeze into your sleeve, don't reuse napkins, and of course, if you're sick, don't go. Marcia?
Great reminder, Abigail. Thank you. It's been nearly a year since the U.S. started the trade war with Canada and several months since Mark Carney's Elbows Up campaign. So are Canadians still sticking it to their southern neighbor when it comes to buying Canadian? CTV's Paul Hollingsworth checks on consumer trends in Halifax. Paul.
Marcia, for many, buying Canadian is easier said than done. Sharon Spencer is in full Christmas shopping mode, and her strategy is simple.
I buy what's on sale.
Spencer tries to buy only Canadian-made products, but affordability is her primary focus.
I don't really look at the tags to see if it's from the U.S.
Spencer's not alone. A new poll from Nanos Research shows 45% of Canadians see cost as a barrier to buying Canadian goods. 33% say product availability is blocking their purchases. 32% have concerns about transparency. They don't know what products are made in Canada.
It takes a lot of effort.
Trade tensions have motivated Melanie Goldsworthy to buy only Canadian-made products this holiday season.
I do acknowledge it is difficult. It's challenging. You have to change your habits. You definitely do, because the Canadian market isn't as saturated like other markets.
Goldsworthy urges her fellow shoppers to be creative and find ways to support homegrown businesses.
We have managed to find some amazing things for gifts that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else.
Dalhousie University professor Lauren Sheen sees an opportunity emerging for Canadian businesses to develop new strategies that target customers who want to purchase products in their own backyard.
There's a domestic market waiting for businesses that can make those kind of changes and pivots and compete against the large online retailing that we're seeing as a trend that's been increasing over the last decade, really. That's still going to be a challenge for Canadian businesses, but it's doable.
While cost, availability, and transparency are having an impact, 31% of those surveyed by Nanos said they are not experiencing any barriers when it comes to buying Canadian products. Marcia.
Thanks, Paul. Still ahead.
You're fighting to change things.
The French fantasy taking the gaming world by storm. A new docuseries that goes behind the scenes of Taylor Swift's record-breaking Eras tour shows the singer opening up about a deadly stabbing attack in the UK.
I'm gonna meet some of these families tonight. And
the tearful moment came after a knife attack at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class that left 3 children dead and injured 10 more. Just a week later, 3 of her Vienna concerts were canceled after 2 men were arrested for plotting a terror attack targeting her concerts. A French fantasy video game pressed all the right buttons, sweeping the Game Awards.
I think that's what I find really beautiful, is that people really reacted strongly to all the passion we put into this game. Like, it's really a game that comes from the heart.
Claire Obscure Expedition 33 won the coveted Game of the Year and a handful of other prestigious awards as well. The game has sold millions of copies since its April release. After the break, Newfoundland and Labrador mark an important milestone on Signal Hill. The first ever wireless transatlantic signal was received in St. John's 124 years ago today. CTV's Garrett Berry now on how Newfoundlanders are commemorating the communications breakthrough on Signal Hill.
This is Victor Oscar 1.
Even with 124 years of refinement and advancement, transatlantic radio communication is an inexact science. In searching for a prearranged message from radio operators in Cornwall in the United Kingdom, trying to recreate what Guglielmo Marconi did in 1901 here at Signal Hill, radio enthusiasts in Newfoundland today heard from Austria instead.
Maybe the part that protects the signals back down to England is missing, or it's got a hole in it or something. We don't know.
It's all part of the magic and mystery of radio that turns wires and diodes, circuits, into holiday greetings between strangers across the world.
And season's greetings and Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
Back in the day, they used to use a crystal as sort of a conductor. Nowadays, we use this small little thing.
Today, to celebrate Marconi's achievement 124 years ago, these students got a bit of hands-on time, making their own radios.
Morse code takes a really long time to write.
And seeing what they could pick up.
I think it was country. Actually, maybe like some Newfoundland music.
If you attach chords, and it's pretty easy, but if like you don't...
It requires instructions.
Even though their intended message from the UK didn't quite land, there wasn't much disappointment among this group.
The look on the kids' faces when they plug their radio in and all of a sudden hear, you know, a radio station come in, it's magical.
Instead, a sense of wonder and a commitment to come back again next year for the 125th anniversary and keep the history of the achievement here alive. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
That is our newscast for this Friday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marcia McMillan. See you tonight on CTV National News. Your local CTV News starts right now.